They said that you're six
This
times
week
more
on My
likely
Time
to be
to
strip
Talk.
searched as a black child. That's what the data have found. 6 times more likely. So what is that telling you? If it's not based on adultifying, if it's not based on race, like clearly it is. Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing. They might as well just scrap these hearings if that's the kind of nonsense that they're gonna freaking come out with.
We are not the problem. Disabled people are not the problem.
Going to actually get rights over minerals from the Congo. So that's going to be cobalt, that's going to be coltan, as well as other earth minerals. And I just thought, how sad is this? Do you know what I mean?
They're still taking it out.
When
and they
will
know
they learn?
that it's children.
That's it.
I'm trying to do some deals with him, and he asked me to have a word with you because you're the one that's talking about his wife having a penis.
What? Wow. Burkina Faso have announced that they have made 18 billion from their gold mines since Ibrahim Traoré has been in office. Obviously,
Diddy? No, he didn't.
Friggin' jokers. Somebody's kicking me down and then I have to go and perform sexual acts. I would say that was kind of forced, but apparently no, that was just, part of
that she was kicked
their
around.
foreplay and stuff like.
It's like
say that when
he's gonna get shot. He's gonna get shot. He's forgot that people have guns in America.
Oh, we haven't forgot, but he's got security.
So what? There's been presidents that have died before now.
Oh yeah, a couple.
We better not cut into that. Just as I've said, presidents have died before now. It'd be like,
we're in England. It wasn't us. If anything happens to Donald, we're in England. Definitely.
Just don't put this on. Is it on?
Yeah, we're on.
Are we?
We're on. So what's your P's and Q's, mother?
What's your P's and Q's? Well, it's our time to talk. We are going to start with...
we're going to do at home and abroad today.
We're going to start with home, or should we start with abroad?
It's up to you, Morgan.
Start with abroad.
Okay, go for it. So, what we are now, I think it was last week, the end of last week, beginning of this week, marked the anniversary of the Kenyan protests that were happening in young people in Kenya were protesting tax hikes as well as police brutality and calling for the resignation of President Ruto. Obviously, Kenya is a very young population. I think the average age is 19, and there's vast unemployment rates. I think they said up to 60% of people are actually unemployed, and they haven't even got the benefit of looking to higher education, a lot of them, because of a lot of these reforms that have been made by under the Ruto government. So clearly these people have gone out to protest their rights. This was last year, and over 60 protesters were unalived, as well as many are missing. They didn't actually state. I think some people are saying it's 80, other people are saying it's more, but many people have been listed as missing since, and lots of people were injured. So people were clearly, just out trying to fight for their rights, but faced with, they were peacefully protesting as well, might I add, but the police are known for their police brutality.
I think the main one was the young guy that went out to do
the vlogger.
No, the one that he just went out to do some work on the streets, and he was caught up in it, and the guy, the police person, actually fired a gun. What's his name? Yeah. And they are protesting about that as well. That he just fired as he was walking away. Say again.
There was a vendor that I know that they were talking about. I can't remember his name, but I have to get it off.
You can't keep just killing people for the sake of the killing people. He was. They said they're having an investigation, but he was just a street vendor, shot in the head by police during protest 2 weeks ago. And this is all over the internet. This is not something that, like, oh, we're talking about this behind our, behind our hand. He wasn't even in the protest. He went out to do his vending to feed his family and ended up dead because one of the policemen took a dislike to the way he actually approached him or something. And as he was walking away, I mean, there is, as I said, it's all over the internet. He's fired a gun after him, and he did live for a little while. But obviously, you're not going to live if you've been shot directly at you. Not like he's not running away or anything. He was just shot as he was walking away. So if we're thinking that that we're always going to be, there's always going to be something, there's always going to be something that they can pass off as, well, he did this, and there's too many of us, as we've said in the past, that says things like that, like, oh, well, like, they're fighting each other. I mean, what can we do about that? Like, why are these people just being left to their own devices? You know what I mean?
Because they've got the full weight of the government, and obviously because these reforms are backing like Western interests, basically, the West haven't got any impetus to step in, because actually the guy's working on their behest, really, isn't he? Like, he's getting paid by them for working for them. And I know even when they're calling for people to be, for these police to be investigated, they're not doing anything about it.
It's never going to happen. The reason why the UN, I presumed, was made or organised was to give these situations a look at and to see, like, where can we go from here? We can't have the next generation just being fired at, shot at, made to shut up about their wants, that the present government is not even going to be alive when these young people actually have to live in Kenya, have to live in this world. They're not even going to be alive, and they're making too many decisions based on the things that's happening now, and not taking into account that these are children. These are
that is it,
really children.
Literally. And I think that's the thing, like, they are very brave because they know that whether they protest or not, they are likely to, face the worst kind of treatment or punishment. So they're fighting for their future, because, as you said, they haven't got a future under this government. It's clear. He's not looking for their rights or in terms of their interests. So that's why they are looking for him to resign, and for like government reform in general. And there was another, when you just mentioned that guy, there was another vlogger, Albert Ojwang, I think he's called, and he was unalived in police custody, and there's been no no justice in terms of that. Police have denied it. They've said that he committed suicide in the cell, which all of his family are saying is definitely not true. But he was known for critiquing the government under on his vlog. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, these people, if they think they're labelled treasonous by their president, and even terrorists, he called them the other day, like anybody that's out protesting the terrorists. And where have we heard that? Like, even recently now, they did with the PAL action people. They're saying anybody that's doing activist work under that Palestine action, they will be labelled terrorists. They're looking for a bill to be passed for them to be labelled terrorists. So it's becoming a trend that governments are labelling their own citizens as terrorists. Like this would be like in line with basically Al Qaeda, ISIS, those type of people. They're trying to say it's that. Do you know what I mean? Just for protesting, which clearly
because,
is not the same thing.
How can you send, like the Americans? How can you send the actual Marines to sort out
the National Guard,
a protest
against your own people?
Your own people, you know, like really? Is that really necessary?
No.
I mean, are you showing us? And this is getting to be worldwide. That dictatorship actually works.
Yeah, it's not a democracy anymore.
Once before, we used to say, "Oh, well, that country is run under dictatorship." Now it's looking like
what's the difference?
Everywhere is the same.
What's the difference between them and Russia or wherever else? Or that what's the North Korean guy, Kim Jong-un? Like, what is the difference? Because it's, you know, other than, you know, you're forcing them to say serve or whatever, even that they're saying that they want to try doing as well. So what clearly is the difference between them and the dictatorship and a democracy? Then there isn't much at the moment. Clearly not. But
then you're going to ask these same people to fight in a war that is never going to benefit them, but they will have to fight for their country if it comes to that. And what is the incentive to fight for a country that you're living in that is abusing you? And I have to say, it's abuse. It's not like, oh, well, we're looking after the country. No. You can't be looking after the country when you're talking about an unarmed, you know, children, or what I would classify as children, because, you know, it's been in my age group. But these young people, these are young people that's going to have to run the country.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like over 400 people injured, I'm sure, on this protest. Yeah. I think it was like
485 people have been arrested.
And it's like gunshot wounds as well. Do you know what I mean? This isn't
19 people were killed.
Like, they're using live rounds. This isn't rubber bullets. No. This isn't like they're literally shooting at people. Like, people shouldn't be losing their lives for protesting for their rights.
For their rights.
There's people that not vendors, the small businesses around Nairobi. Their businesses have been under attack. They've been subjected to arson and looting, and the government is trying to say that it's the protesters, and the protesters are saying it's not, that they've been infiltrated by government goons, basically people funded by the government, in order to undermine the protests. Do you know what I mean? To make it look like they're violent when they're clearly not violent. Do you know what I mean? So these are all of the kind of tactics that they'll use to try and basically douse down the movement when they're just fighting for their rights, literally.
And that word terrorism is being bandied around now. It's like, as soon as you say something against the government and all that, it's like you're suddenly a terrorist. You know, like, when did we jump from, you know, like, I'd like to have my own opinion, you know, because I should be able to have my own opinion.
Have a say.
I am trying to, you know, ruin the country.
Yeah.
You know, like, we've got to stop. I mean, terrorism has got to be redefined because it wasn't as easy to be called a terrorist as it is now.
But yeah, if you're of a certain demographic, of a certain hue, though, because you'll see other people that will do acts that I would definitely find as terrorism, and, you know, they'll be a little bit lighter skinned, let's just say, and they won't be labelled as a terrorist. They'll say that they've got mental health issues, like that guy, the Russian, the Belarusian Israeli. guy, did you see it? Slammed down a baby in the airport.
No.
Literally picked up an 18-month Iranian baby and slammed the baby down. Like the mum was just going to get her pushchair.
She took him. He's mad. He's took him.
And they've said, oh, he was under the influence of drugs. Like, to me, that is an act of terror. Do you know what I mean? The same with that Marcus Monzo.
The same with the one that killed the young black guy.
Yes,
he was under the influence of drugs.
Guy, you know,
the one that
it's mental health, blah, blah, blah.
Ploughed through 79 people.
Yeah.
In Manchester.
Liverpool.
He was under the influence of drugs. Yeah. Why wasn't he a terrorist? Mm-hmm. He's killed more people than some supposed terrorists.
No, none died, but it was an act of terror, though. It's only by the grace of God that nobody died in that one, the Liverpool one. But yeah, I would say that was an act of terror.
Definitely, because like if there's nothing terroristic about that, then other people should be given a release date.
Exactly.
You know, a release date, because they probably only killed one person, or they only ploughed down one person. You know, we've got to stop. We've got to stop, because this country and other countries like Kenya are now scary places to go. I mean, America right now is a scary place to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going to America.
Because, like, even I was watching, I think his name is Amal Rajan, interviewing Martina Navratilova the other day. And at the end of the interview, he asked her, do you think that you would have got into America if it was now? And she says, actually, no, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have qualified. Even though I was a good tennis player, I think that I would definitely have had to think twice about actually trying to get an American citizenship. I don't think it would have happened. You know, like we're living in different days. And she says, you know, which is a very good interview to watch, actually.
I'll have to watch that.
But as I said, like, she's right, because like we've been told these people that are not going to America right now. You know, it's like, no way, because they've been stopped at the airport, asked how long they're staying for, told that they can't stay that long. Have they got their bank account details? Have they got return flights? Have they got this, that, and data, as we would say? And they've been turned back. You know, like they actually have been turned back, and that's people from England, Australia. I mean, a lady in Australia says that it was like a nightmare. She was just going for a holiday, and she was questioned that much that she says, like, never again will I go back to America. And there is reports that the American airways and things like that have been less. There's been empty flights, hasn't there?
Yeah.
There's been empty flights.
One woman went on a whole flight on her own. I mean, imagine, like, if I was a pilot, I would have to say, sorry, this flight is cancelled.
She didn't even get to go in first class.
Exactly, they didn't even let her go in first class. That's what I couldn't get over. Like, the whole plane was empty. Nobody wants to go to America. But they still didn't let her go into first class. But that says it all as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, they said, like, even now, like, tourist time would be booming. New York, Florida, Disney World, nobody's interested, because you've wiped out a whole demographic of people. As you said, if it's not like, you know, like the Mexicans, then it's definitely black people. They started on the Haitians as well the other day. They started deporting Haitians, you know, before it started as the Mexicans. That's what I was saying to, like, black people in general. Don't be supporting this dude. Like, Trump, he is not for you. He's not seeing you as an American. He's talking to his white, rich counterparts. He's not even talking to the working class white people. Do you know what I mean? You're black as far as he is concerned.
Yeah,
do you know
you're
what I mean?
In that demographic.
He don't care about you. So if he could deport you somewhere, you'd be gone.
He will be.
Do you know what I mean?
He will be, because that's what he said recently. And I think a lot of this is distraction. There's distraction going on in every area of the American government at the moment, I feel, anyway, because like there is too many contrasting comments, reports. I mean, now he's going to deport the people that was born in America. It's like, come on, that's not dictatorship. That's not it's not. It's worrying to actually know that you've got family in America that might actually be deported to where they grew. They were born in America. Do you know what I mean? To where you trying to displace all these people, and does that include your wife and your children?
No, because she got her thingy
under being a genius.
Yes,
and that is so amazing. A genius model,
like. She said she's not even a Naomi Campbell or a Cindy Crawford. Do you know what I mean?
Can't even speak English.
And as I said, this is like people would get this visa that she's got. They'd have to be like scientists or like she said the last time I checked, she wasn't no Einstein. She literally
no way, no how.
She cracked me up. But yeah, she's right. How did she get that visa?
Yeah.
Me and you would have been able to get that visa.
She's a model, and that's all she is a model.
So yeah.
So as we says, you know, there does need to be an interception. It's not a matter of ruling, because as I said, it's like, I'm sure that was what the UN was set up for, was to have negotiations with different countries that are in a war-torn situation or dictatorship, you know, or they are living in a dictatorship. People, we're in the 21st century, you know. I mean, we need to get back to some sort of peace. You know, peace on this world is got to be something that we got to look forward to at some stage. You know, but anyway,
go on then. What have we got, Al?
At home, we'll go home now. Looking at the time, at home? We're talking about the child queue, and this is the thing in England, where this young girl in 2020 actually, because it's 5 years ago, was strip searched in a classroom while she was on her period, no less, and made because the teacher smelled weed on her. You know, this, how amazing can this be? You know, like, is she a big falutin dealer?
No, definitely not. And there's just so many nuances and layers to this story, really, because to be fair, it's like, first, she's been discriminated against, do you know what I mean? Because basically you've seen a black girl and you're saying you smell weed, do you know what I mean? So now we need to not only think, like, where was the discretion in terms of, we'll call her parents, do you know what I mean? Like, no, we've got to call the police. Do you know what I mean? Because as you said, like, there must be some, like, she's got to be some big drug kingpin going on here.
Must
do you know what I mean? Because now we've got to fucking call the police.
Because her body's smelling of weed.
Do you know what I mean? Allegedly as well. Because again, like, you just don't know with these people. Like, you know, there's certain teachers, they'll get like a little bit of a grudge against you, and suddenly they'll use their powers as much as they can in order to, you know what I mean, flex their muscle basically. And it sounds a little bit like that to me, because how it's gotten to the point where the police have been called, never mind that now she's being strip searched for weed. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if she did have weed on her, which she didn't, do you know what I mean? Let's just clarify. That was wholly disproportionate. Do you know what I mean? The way that she was treated is just absolutely disgusting. And I would say, as I've said before, that was a sexual assault. Do you know what I mean? There is no way that anybody should be doing a strip search on a minor for weed. Do you understand? And as, again, there was no communication in terms of speaking to her parents.
Before.
Do you know what I mean? The school was classed as her legal guardian. Why these people aren't being put up on charges, I don't know. Obviously, now we've just had the misconduct hearing for
in 2025, and this happened in 2020. They got a PDF about
many PDFs
about the whys and the wherefores going forward. But it's like, how, if it takes you 5 years to think that somebody was abused, I've got to use that word, that somebody was abused. In the end, they done 2 for gross misconduct, police people, and one was done for one was done for her last warning. So that, to me, says that you've done this before, because you don't get a last warning unless it's happened before. Exactly. And especially you've been told, do not keep doing that. You know, so you've got your last warning. How does she get a last warning and not the sack?
Yeah, and not arrested. But this is what I'm saying. Like, again, they were fired. Yes, you know, they did their whole thing, but they still said that it wasn't racially motivated. They still said it had nothing to do with adultifying a black child, which is not true. They still said that it wasn't acting out of dishonesty or something like that. Like, all of the stuff that they came out with, I'm just like, well, how? Do you know what I mean?
But
like,
it
doesn't make sense.
Because the report actually says, because I read some of it, the report actually says that 4 black children are strip searched at least every year. But
it's more
I think it's less time than that. There says that 16 people in that same year was strip searched in the classroom, not at a police station.
They said that you're 6 times more likely to be strip searched as a black child. That's what the data have found. 6 times more likely. So what is that telling you if it's not based on adultifying, if it's not based on race? Like, clearly it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, they might as well just scrap these hearings if that's the kind of nonsense that they're going to freaking come out with. Do you know what I mean? And then at the end of the whole report, they say, oh, but we do acknowledge how distressing this must have been for childcare and blah, blah, blah. Like, stuff your sentiments up your backside, do you know what I mean? Like, how is that going to help her? Do you know what I mean? As a young woman, you're stuck with that. And not only that, now your case has been, you know, thrown all through the media, like hearing after hearing after hearing, and still nobody's actually been held to account. Do you know what I mean? That's what would think it. Even the school has been renamed. Do you know what I mean? So they're more thinking with rectifying the reputation of the school than actually, you know, helping this young girl to actually get some justice here.
This girl has had to go through this. She must be 20 now,
she's not even a girl anymore,
because she was 15 when this happened. So that means that she's had 5 years of terror already, you know, and this only means that it's going to start again. If she'd got through 5 years of therapy, she's going to have to need
reliving it again,
another 5 years at least to get through the report, what the report has come to. And I would say that the report on TV and the news is not the report that is actually being shown in the report that they made on Child Q. You know, it's been watered down. It's not said how it really happened. You know, it's been like sort of, unless that was done because the Child Q asked you to not say all the details now. You know what I mean? But they only have to look at the actual report, what they made into it.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to, again, like what they did with the school, they're trying to save face for the reputation of the police, and that's why they don't want to admit too much and thinking they'd rather throw these officers under the bus because we can, lose a few officers, that's fine. But if we dig in too deep, then we're going to be looking into other cases, and we're going to see other instances where it's actually a culture within the police. This isn't just an isolated incident. And it kind of reminded me of, even though it's a separate thing, that Nicole and Bieber, when the two sisters were murdered in the park by that racist guy, and then and then they're seen in the group chat that the people that were recruiting people that were actually, helping the recruits and getting them into the police, they were the ones that was most active in this group chat and posting pictures of their dead bodies and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Right. So it's a culture of misogyny, it's a culture of racism. They did all that Sarah Everard thing and all the protests that happened, and they don't want that to happen again, basically. And it's only because it's black children that people weren't turning out in big old numbers like they were with that one. Protest, do you know what I mean? So they feel like they've gotten away with it. That's my opinion anyway.
And they have got away with it. And because 3 police people turning up to search one black child,
ridiculous,
and it's not a pat down.
That must have
what happened to a pat down? How much drugs could this girl be hiding? She's at school.
Drugs,
she's at school. Why go to school if you can earn more money selling drugs on the street at 15? You wouldn't be in school. True. So if she got it's the same as they've said about cocaine. You could go through the airport and be stopped with cocaine signature, because there is so much cocaine in this world at the moment that you could easily fly into your things or anything like that. So there wasn't a very good reason. There wasn't a good reason, and
not at all.
I would say that black people actually need to make their children aware that when they do things like that, start screaming and say, I want my mum or something like that, and tell your children to do that, because it's happening still. It's still happening. It's not that it's gone away.
So I've had to tell my daughters, they've got no rights over you. So, if there ever comes a time where any teacher's talking about pat downs or searches, you go to the toilet and you call me and I will be down there. Do you know what I mean? You stay in that bathroom until I get there, because these people think that they're the rulers of everybody. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's teachers, whether it's police. I don't care. When some people say they die for their kids, this person actually means it. So do you know what I mean? Don't even put that kind of thing to the test seriously. It must have been absolutely heartbreaking for
I send you to school. Literally. I would say people send their children to school for an education. Not a bad experience. Not a bad experience. So you're joking.
Got their whole lifetime for the world to knock them down. Do you know what I mean? This is the times, the formative years. You want to build up their confidence, not for them to be scarred for life. For God's sake, ridiculous.
So that is that. And I said,
what about Diddy?
What was the other one? Oh gosh.
Yeah. So obviously
Diddy.
Diddy.
No, we didn't.
Friggin' jokers. So after this, however long, I think it was 3-4 week trial, they came back with guilty for 2 of the 5 charges. But it's basically the less serious ones is what he's been convicted of. He
actually got away with kicking that girl around.
Well, because they said it's just domestic violence as far as they're concerned.
It's just domestic violence. I mean,
probably get.
Did he need to kill her in the back room?
They said it wasn't forced labour, it wasn't sex trafficking, it wasn't racketeering.
Just all of
the organised crime elements of it, he was found not guilty of. He's been basically done for transportation for prostitution. That's it. And because he's already served a year, chances are he'll probably serve maybe another year,
so he'll be out.
And then he'll be out. Even though he's been denied bail, he'll probably get about 2 years in all. They said, and with time served. So again, it just proves the same kind of things. If you've got enough money, good enough lawyers, you can get away with the most. Literally, you can get away with the most. And apparently, like Cassie, who was one of their main witnesses, put in a letter to the judge to say, like, please basically deny his bail because he is still a danger. Like, she is still frightened of him. So again, it just shows like how hard it is for women to come forward and men to come forward on these kind of sex crime thingy. Whether you could say that it just wasn't proved, or whether you believe it was sex
somebody can be kicking either you way on a video, and you still can't get
all of that proof that
and you still
a lot of people probably wouldn't have as well.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's behind closed doors.
Yeah, like text messages and even other people's statements. Like there were people that she's testified to that were there seeing this stuff happen. Do you know what I mean? In terms of beating her down. I would say that's kind of forced and coercion, in my opinion, then. If somebody's kicking me down and then I have to go and perform sex acts, I would say that was kind of forced. But apparently, no, that was just, part of
that she was kicked around.
Foreplay and stuff. Like it's astounding. And I know that it was a jewelry.
It's racism,
but
again, it's just still racism.
You know what I mean? Like they see the glitz and the glamour, and to them, like that's all it is. Do you know what I mean? And as I said, when you've got the type of money where you can pay all the good lawyers, like these people, the ones that will be for the prosecution. They haven't got like 10 lawyers working on these cases. They've got probably 2 or 3. Do you know what I mean? And like when you've got money to pay for for the best of the best, like you can be as invested as you want. You still got a whole caseload of other stuff that are going on. Do you know what I mean? So chances are they are like the defense are going to be able to rebut the case like to the highest height. So I think this was a win for the defense as far as they're concerned, even though, as I said, they wanted him to be able to get bail, but it's still a win for them because these charges are nothing in comparison to the big charges, because that was what they were looking for, was the 50 to life type charges, weren't they? So
and it really makes you sad to think that a lot of people can say, if he didn't get into the drink,
again,
wanted to sell that drink, they probably would never have brought this case against him. It's only because that he tried to get into the Ciroc.
They probably are right,
and they probably are, and that's the worst of it, though.
Because there are people still doing this.
That is the worst of it.
There's people that have been named that were supposed to have been doing similar things, and they've not been brought up on charges. So it does make you think you've just basically wound up the wrong people, and they've sold you down the river. Just wanted to mention that. And lastly, some actual good news from abroad. Burkina Faso have announced that they have made 18 billion from their gold mines since Ibrahim Traore has been in office. And before that foreign companies were only paying 1 billion. Can you believe it? We can. So well done to Burkina Faso again. So that's more money that can be put into infrastructure, security, education for the people of Burkina Faso.
And he's giving them a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, it's just showing presidents like this Ruto, like Kagame, because I saw that him as well, he was saying that he's not going to be letting secondhand clothes into Rwanda anymore. So it just shows those type of leaders how it should be done, basically, and they know
and how you could do it.
Yeah, how you
if
could
you wasn't looking for money off another country.
If you weren't looking to be a seller, basically. Sellouts. So
UK.
Yeah, you know what I mean, literally. So just wanted to congratulate him.
Yes.
Just wanted to mention also that Rwanda and the DRC apparently have signed a peace deal under Donald Trump, of all people. So with that, we're gonna get a load of minerals. That's what he said. We're a load of minerals. So they're going to actually get rights over minerals from the Congo. So that's going to be cobalt, that's going to be coltan, as well as other earth minerals. And I just thought, how sad is this? Do you know what I mean?
They're still taking it out.
When
and they
will
know
they learn?
that it's children.
That's it.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
children,
Like,
young
he's trying to
adults.
say this is gonna, this peace deal is gonna stop the fighting and this and that. But we've heard it so many times before, haven't we? Like the US come in with their white savior complex, and nothing ever actually changes for the people on the ground. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering whether the human cost is going to actually change. So whether the displacement is going to change, like all of these things. And it's like funny that they would. Well, it's not funny. Ha ha. Irony funny that they would use Kagame, Rwanda, the Rwandan president, to garner this deal when it's him that's known for funding a lot of these militias that are in the Congo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously Rwanda being a neighbouring country of the Congo, the majority of these earth minerals are exported through Rwanda. From the DRC from the DRC through Rwanda. And Rwanda definitely doesn't produce any of these minerals. So it's clear that there's certain back deals that are being made for him doing so. So again, it's just like making a deal, like the two devils making a deal, basically, because clearly none of them have the best interest for the DRC. And yet it's these people, like, where were the Congolese people in the room to have this kind of conversation? People that understand the complexities of what's happening on the ground in the DRC, and they weren't invited to these peace talks. So it just, to me, smacks of the new, basically, neo-colonialism. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're still going to be extracting these things from the land, just now with the US having rights over these minerals, rather than it being, we're stealing these minerals, like they were, basically doing exactly the same thing, but under a peace treaty now.
And you know something? Can you imagine this? That I was watching this podcast that was saying that Candace Owens was telephoned by Trump to say, "Can you stop talking about the French, the Frenchman's wife, Macron's wife, because I'm trying to do some deals with him, and he asked me to have a word with you because you're the one that's talking about his wife having a penis." What?
Wow, what the hell?
So is this Congo related?
Wow.
Because we know the French and Congo, you know what I mean? As far as they're concerned, they still owe the money and they're still taking ore out of their country. So imagine that you would phone and ask a podcast person if they would stop talking about his wife.
How much they think she's got influence then.
Exactly. Where does she get that sort of power from? Why are you trying to show us that she's got that much power? She hasn't. There's no way that she has. And for you to be doing a deal with him under the guise of I love you, and we could do this deal, and then phone up a podcast person and ask them to please stop talking about a person that you're trying to do a deal with.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is scary.
And another thing that's weird is one of the women that were in the room when they were doing these peace talks, she's like a presenter. And the guy's like, "Oh, you're really beautiful. Oh, you're so beautiful." And that's all they're like,
undermining her.
Like, what the hell? And she's there like,
thank you. Nothing like,
oh my God.
Why? Where does distraction stop in this with this joint government?
Absolutely pitiful.
You know what I mean? Because I really do like black people.
Yeah,
I'm only.
That's what it was.
I hate these reports that keep saying that I'm a racist. So I'll make sure that I give her a good,
beautiful.
And once again, black people don't say like, Mr. President, can we just carry on with the thank you, so kind of you to say that,
Oh, pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. Literally made me sick in my mouth, that bit. But yeah, it just made me think, like, literally, we're not learning. I know we've said it again, but we're not learning. You know, this is like King Leopold all over
again.
Do you know what I mean?
They'll be chopping off hands soon.
That's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you just
how can you guarantee or even say that you're going to take ore and things like that out of a country that there is children working in the mines to get some food for their family?
Women, like, people,
you know,
it's just
where does it end? You know, like, why don't you care? Why don't you care?
Africa is not underdeveloped, it's overexploited. Do you know what I mean?
Overexploited.
It's overexploited.
Very good saying.
And it's people like Ibrahim Traore. They need to be giving these kind of people a masterclass in how to keep these colonizers out and to keep, like, decolonizing their countries, because he is doing exactly the right thing for his people. More people need to be following suit. Do you know what I mean? Like the DRC, I know I've said it before, but it is one of the, you know, if the DRC was managed correctly, you know, it could feed the whole of Africa. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It could power.
Exactly.
It could give energy and power to the whole of Africa. They know this. Do you know what I mean? The powers that be know this, and that's why they don't want it to flourish in the way that it should be. So yeah,
I have a lot of editing.
I know, all of them cost me a lot to edit out.
The other thing, just going back to home, actually, was the Chancellor,
yeah,
crying in a parliamentary, crying because her thing that was put forward to kill off, is all I can say, disabled people, didn't go through. Yeah. No, like, lady, do not be crying about bills that are not going through just because you can't find the billions to take away from people in the worst situation, and that you might lose your job. I mean, like, it really smacks of Theresa May crying. The only time that she cried was when they said that she had to leave. Yep. Do you know what I mean? She didn't cry because there was problems in the country. She didn't cry that austerity was killing us. She didn't cry for anything else. She cried because we was throwing her out. You know what I mean? Are these people selfish?
Oh, it's beyond.
Unemotional?
Like, she's still an MP. Do you know what I mean?
Still making her millions.
She's still going to be making a whole heap of money. She's nowhere near going to be on the breadline. Do you know what I mean? As you said, she wasn't crying for people that have to freaking go to food banks. She wasn't crying for the disabled. She wasn't crying for all those people that have been evicted from their homes because they've stood with landlords being able to just evict people off the drop of a hat. Like, she wasn't interested about any of that. She wasn't crying for amputees in Gaza. Nobody cares.
Nothing.
Do you know what I mean?
Nothing.
But Rachel may be losing her job, and she's sitting there in the House of Commons bawling her eyes out. Do you know what I mean? Suck it up, Rachel. Suck it up.
Suck it up.
Joker.
I agree. I thought,
suck it up.
Oh my goodness. So what about all those disabled people that you put on alert and they're scared now? They're scared to fill out the form wrong. They're scared to see what you're going to bring next into the thing. Do you think that it's really funny for disabled people to actually have to put up with all this? I don't know if they're going to pass me and they're going to give me my money because like I haven't got any other way of making. Is that what you're happy about, or is that what you was crying for? No, I bet it wasn't. You know what I mean? But I just thought I have to talk that out.
No, it's true. Like, literally, they've been funding Israel. They fund the Ukraine, this thing with the Ukraine. Like, think about your own damn people. Do you know what I mean?
Let's start with us.
Think about your own
that are living in this country,
that are living in poverty, and they're working too bloody
and who worked from their age of 16. You know what I mean? Like, please do not try and make us the problem. We are not the problem. Disabled people are not the problem.
Well said.
And also, that's the same for America too. You know, like black people, even the Hispanics, the Cuban thing, I go vote for Donald Trump. It's all over the media. But it's still, we still have to say that, yes, so what? That is happened, but it's not the end of it. Do you know what I mean? You can be laughing at Cubans this week, but you could be next week.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
black
mean?
people don't think that it's gonna stop at Haitians. Do you know what I mean? Because as you said, you don't care if you were born there, so then it will be the next generation of people. And as I said, like Kia is a puppet, so whatever America does, he will do too. So next it could be us. They'll say, oh well, any second generation Windrush people,
exactly,
you need to get out.
You need to get out.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're not classed as a citizen. Like they can change the rules on a dime. Do you know what I mean? So stop backing these people.
Yep. So as we say, my time to talk. And also subscribe, comment, like. We're looking out for it, and even the weird comments.
Yeah, now keep your weird comments to yourself, please. Let's just have some normal people commenting, please.
My time to talk.
Mata.